Welcome to Menopause Moguls podcast, the Elevation Talk series, with yours truly, Dr. Joyelle. I am Dr. Joyelle, the Menopause Mogul, board certified OBGYN and business coach for Black women 40 and over. And my mission is to educate, embolden, and empower Black women and other women of color in their journey through health and careers. This is a space for Black women and other women of color to share their compelling trials and tribulations in their health and or in their careers and businesses. This is where we recognize the humanity of Black women and show how Black women continue to elevate despite midlife challenges and changes.
Hello. Happy Tuesday, ladies. How is everyone doing today? It has been a interesting day for me. It started off pretty rough, right? And then as you know, if you read my post today, I went to go post and saw that message, or that post from my client, and that just took away all the roughness. But I wanted to come in here tonight to talk about the 3 F's in midlife that we need to give permission to give to ourselves. And if you're in the building, this will be a podcast episode, but if you're in the building live here in the Facebook group, say hey. And feel free to put your name in the comments because I can't see your name here. But I wanted to talk about the 3 F's, right? And I know when we get to a certain age, we run out of F's to give. After all the things that we've been through, all the things that we continue to go through, we just run out of F's to give. But I realize that these F's that I want to talk to you all about tonight are necessary to make us, to allow us to have the capacity to make audacious moves in these midlife streets. So this downloaded into me a few days ago as I was thinking about the beginning of my journey as far as building a business. And I remember feeling like this won't work. I can't do this, right? And feeling inadequate, feeling embarrassment, like I'm going to be embarrassed. And I used to do certain things like busy work to push those feelings down. Like I had those feelings, but really didn't want to feel those feelings. So I just pushed them away, pushed them down by just doing stuff. So I would just do, like I said, just busy work, whether it was working on my website to try to make it prettier or look up different things like, certain details about a business plan, like just little things that I thought was going to get me closer to building the business, but really turned out to be just busy work and not allowing me to actually be productive. But at the same time, I was doing this because I didn't want to feel those feelings of embarrassment or inadequacy, right? Even when it came to when I had to actually tell people about the business that I was actually building and going on, social media, going live and all these things, I had these feelings of, again, being inadequate, not enough, not knowing enough. So I avoided doing it. I avoided doing the lives. I avoided telling people because I didn't want to feel those feelings. And also, when I was in the midst of building my business, there was also these thoughts of judging myself, right? Before I decided to create Menopause Moguls, I did other things, right? I thought about, I don't know if I told you that. I thought about creating a spa. I thought about, I actually sold sex toys. I did other, what do you call it? I forgot, network marketing. The name escapes me, but one of those kind of pyramid type things. Just trying to figure out, what I wanted to do as far as my business. And at one point I had hired a social media coach because before all of this, before my book, before my business, I was not on social media. So social media was like, I don't want to do any of it. I don't know how to grow my audience, all these things. So I hired this coach. And after working with her, it was like, I didn't notice much change. There was no difference. I was like, all right, like it still seems like everything's the same and I don't feel like I got anything out of it. So I judge myself for that, right? I judge myself by, telling myself like, oh my, see, you hired her and you didn't get any results. And so when I was thinking about hiring another coach to do something different, like a business coach, I was hesitant about it because of the quote unquote mistakes that I did prior to that, hiring that other coach, doing other things. I felt like, okay, I made those mistakes, and I shouldn't move forward and hire somebody else because the same result will probably be, the result from those decisions will probably be the same result that I get if I hired somebody else. So I was hesitant about hiring a business coach. So that again that again kept me stagnant in actually being productive in building my business and then ultimately launching my business. And then also the biggest thing when I was in the, again, midst of building my business, the biggest thing that was stopping me was being afraid. I was so scared. I told myself, you're a doctor, you know nothing about business. Why would you start a business? How can you start a business? You don't have an MBA. And, all these things that I told myself, and I was so scared. And it kept me stuck where I didn't want to, I didn't want to do like, huge things like tell people about it or, be more present on social media because I didn't want to, again, feel that fear. And I was also just afraid. I was afraid also that if I built the business, nobody will come, nobody will buy my service, all these things that I told myself. And that kept me stuck. And I did not, kept me in a mode of just doing like busy work but more so it was actually me procrastinating and actually doing more productive things because I didn't want to feel the fear. I didn't want to do it afraid. So I just didn't do it. Right? I just didn't do it. So after kind of realizing all of that, and I've thought about that, where I started, and even with my client's post today and how she started, where she was, feeling the way she felt in regards to building a business, didn't think it was even possible, she had committed to other things that didn't work out, so was afraid to commit to something like my program in order for her to help her not only get through her menopausal transition, but also build this business. And then again, the biggest thing was fear, like being so afraid of building this thing that you've never built before, doing something that you've never done before. So for me, when I realized that I was doing all of this, right, and decided to do something different, and then also hiring help, I actually did get a business coach, an amazing business coach. And the first thing, or one of the first things that I had to do was give myself permission to feel the feelings. Because I was a person who avoided the feelings all the time. Like I did not want to, especially negative feelings, right? I'm also the person who wanted to be happy all the time and wanted everybody else around me to be happy. So if I was happy and everybody else is happy, if I'm sad or this, then everybody, the people around me would also be sad. So I was a person who avoided the feelings, pushed away the feelings. Even when I felt myself cry about something, I would stop myself like, girl, you can't cry. Like, don't do that. So I had to give myself permission to actually feel all of the feelings, feel the inadequacy, feel the that feeling of possibly not knowing enough, feeling the possible embarrassment of going live and not knowing what I'm talking about, or not appear in a way that I don't know what I'm talking about, right? I had to actually feel all of that. And when I did that, I was actually able to do bolder task in regards to actually building my business. And then I also was able to, thinking about the mistakes I've made, the decisions I've made in the past, I had to give myself permission to forgive myself for making those mistakes, forgive myself for beating myself up because that one thing that I decided to do didn't work out. And when I did that, the judgment, I was able to release the judgment and again, not beat myself up. And when I did that, I was actually able to see that the business that I'm building and what I'm building actually is valuable and is worthy of me feeling the feelings, and as well as forgiving myself so that I can put that business out there to help somebody else. And then the biggest thing was giving myself permission to feel the fear. And doing things afraid and being okay with that. Because like I said before, the fear is one of the biggest things it was for me, for my clients, for women that I speak to just in passing, whether it's in DMs or, friends that, who want to do things that want to do big things that are bigger than them. The biggest thing is fear. Like we are so scared to do that big thing, right? And I realized that I had to actually acknowledge that I'm scared and acknowledge that it's okay to be scared because I'm human and we are built to have this, this system that protects us, right? So the fear is a way of potentially protecting us or, helping us avoid things that potentially can harm us. But, obviously this technically does not harm us, but in our brains, it can't tell the difference. So when we're doing things that are scary, doing things outside of our comfort zone, it feels like, oh my gosh, you might die from this. And obviously that's not literal, but our body feels like it would make us like, oh my God, the world will end if we do this big thing. So I had to acknowledge that I'm going to get scared, acknowledge that I'm scared, acknowledge that it's okay that I'm scared, give myself permission to be scared, but do it anyway. Right? Do it anyway. And in order for me to do that, I had to create a safe space for myself. And that safe space stems from me changing the relationship that I have with myself that actually allowed me to build more self-trust. A trust in myself that even if I do this big thing and it doesn't work out according to my plan, it still will work in my favor. It still will work for me in some way, whether I'm learning to do something in a different way, and being able to also trust that what I am building, what I am launching into the world is so valuable that it has to be out in the world. It's not for me to keep. It's for me to actually share with people, with you all, to help, right? To serve. And creating that safe space for myself, it was a game changer. It was a game changer. So the 3 F's that you have to give yourself permission to give when you are in a place where you want to do this big thing like build a business. You have to give yourself permission to feel, give yourself permission to forgive, and give yourself permission to feel the fear. And when you do that, you will be able to make powerful moves towards the business that you want to build, the life that you want to build, and the life that you truly deserve, right? In these midlife streets. And I was actually listening to a podcast called Permission Talk with Dr. Jackie Green. And the guest that she had on there was Dr. Anita Phillips. If y'all don't know her, y'all need to follow her. I love her. She's a trauma therapist, minister, now author, best-selling author. Her book is called The Garden Within. Amazing. I'm still reading it, but it's an amazing book. And she talks about our emotions and the importance of acknowledging and feeling our emotions. And when I had this download of what I wanted to talk to you all about today, about the 3 F's that we have to give ourselves permission in midlife, I came across this podcast and I happened to listen to this episode, and Dr. Anita was talking about how we can chase our goals and do all the things to chase our goals. But when we get there and accomplish that goal, we either break down or we get there and we're not fulfilled. We're still not happy. We're still, something's missing. And she said the reason for that is that when we were chasing the goals, we weren't meeting our emotional needs. And she said, just like we need food, air, and water, we need connection, worth, and safety. And that struck me because when I think about giving ourselves permission for these 3 F's, permission to feel, that connection, right? That connection. And and what Dr. Anita was referring more so to connection to other people, And that is also important in your journey when building a business, but also connection to yourself, connection to your higher self, connection to your soul, connection to your deep feelings, and meeting that connection allows you to keep moving and elevating yourself and not be bogged down by, things that don't go your way, or, don't go as planned, or quote unquote failures. You're still able to move in that because you have this connection. The worth in regards to, when you forgive yourself for either, making this decision about using something, doing another course, or using another coach, or doing a webinar, and you didn't get the result that you wanted, and now you're hesitant about doing something different because you didn't get the result the last time. So forgiving yourself for that, and knowing that also, we also can get caught up in judging ourselves when we don't make certain boundaries, and because you didn't make certain boundaries with certain people, you still are stuck in doing other things that you don't want to do instead of doing the things you want to do, like build your business. So forgiving yourself for that. All of that is worthy to us, right? Like that is that worth of our that the worth that, or the value that we recognize in ourselves, the value in recognizing the business that we want to provide, the service that we want to provide, recognizing that value, and being able to forgive ourselves for making certain decisions, so we can still move forward and do things to get us closer to building the business. Instead of beating ourselves up and judging ourselves because the first thing didn't work out, or the second thing, or even the third thing, right? So knowing that worth, knowing that value that our business has, that we have, and committing to that so that we can continue to move forward even through challenges, that is important. And then the safety part, right? Creating a safe space for ourselves where we are able to, despite the roadblocks, despite the challenges, despite all the things that life be life in, right? We create a safety within ourselves that we still can do this amazing thing like building a business amongst all of that, right? Creating that safety to say, okay, I've been going through this thing, and I came out on the other side, right? And not keeping ourselves on the struggle bus, because we now trust ourselves to continue to move forward and to keep going. And that truly is something that, even with me during this whole long COVID, post-COVID journey, there was a time where I was so low, where I did not, like, I didn't want to do anything. I was like, I'm going to quit the business. I'm going to quit the podcast. I'm going to quit everything. But I had to, again, create that safety within myself and build up again that trust in myself that God has gotten you through other things, and He will get you through this, and you can get back up again so you can keep going. So those are the 3 F's that we need to give ourselves permission in midlife so that we can do all of the audacious goals that have been placed in our heart. Permission to feel, the permission to forgive ourselves, the permission to feel the fear, Because once we do that, we can do anything that we are being called to do. So some of you may be scared to join my challenge, right? My Midlife Business Mastery Challenge that I am holding on December 13th through the 15th. That is for you who have that fear. Because I know that fear can be so heavy and so overwhelming where you don't even want to take one step, right? It's like, it's just, it can be very overwhelming. But just a baby step that you can take by joining my free challenge so that you can learn how to give yourself permission to do these 3 F's in these midlife streets so you can do the business in 2024. We're going to talk about all of that in this 3-day challenge. So I'm going to drop the link in the comments so you can register because it's going to be fire, y'all. I am so excited about this, and I've said this before where, you know, again, fear is still there, y'all. I think I've said this on the podcast before. Even with this challenge, even when I come on here live in the group, the fear is still there, right? It's still there, but I've learned to feel the fear and do it anyway. Because that is what God is calling me to do. That is why I'm here. That is why I keep going. Despite, you know, this whole long COVID thing, despite this rough morning that I had because of long COVID this morning, I continue to strive towards doing all of the audacious things that I have in my heart, and at the same time bringing all of you with me and empowering you all to do the same thing, right? Because I want to see us all win. I want us all to be out in these midlife streets thriving and creating the life that we truly deserve and want. So join the challenge, and so we can do that. So we can go all in 2024. So December 13th to the 15th at 7 p.m. Also, I'm holding, you can upgrade to VIP. The challenge is free, but you can upgrade to the VIP session on the Saturday, because that will be an opportunity to actually have direct coaching by me on your specific, you know, roadblocks, hangups, menopausal symptoms, whatever the thing is that's holding you back. It will be more personalized coaching by me in that VIP session. So again, register, y'all, because we are going to have awesome time. All right, y'all. So that's what I have for you all today. The 3 F's in midlife that you give yourself permission for: permission to feel, permission to forgive, permission to feel the fear. So I hope that you that resonates with you all. Let me know in the comments. If you are listening via the podcast, let me know in the comments or in a review. Let me know. All right, y'all. That's what I have for you all this evening, and I'll see y'all next time. All right, y'all. Take care.